about to launch you into a new dimension. I don't know who this is for, but you've been crying in secret, waiting in silence, and wondering when the shift will come. You've been faithful when it felt like nobody was watching. You've endured attacks that would have crushed a weaker soul. You've walked through fires, storms, rejection, loneliness, and spiritual battles that shook your very core. But you're still standing. And I came to declare to you with a holy conviction, this is not the end. This is the launching pad. This is the moment before the explosion of destiny. God is about to do something in your life that eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and hearts have not conceived. He is moving behind the veil, working in the silence, preparing to elevate you into a dimension you've never walked in before. You see, when God is about to move, He first separates. He pulls you away from what is familiar so He can forge you in what is sacred. You may feel like you've been hidden, but hidden does not mean forgotten. Hidden means preserved, protected, set apart for a greater purpose. God hides His chosen ones before He reveals them. He covers what He plans to crown. And you, my friend, have been in the workshop of heaven. God has been refining you, molding you, breaking off every weight, cutting away every distraction, removing every counterfeit connection, because where He's taking you, the old things can't go. There's a stirring in the spirit right now. Something is shifting. The pain wasn't random, the delay wasn't a denial, the loneliness wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You had to be stripped so that nothing would interfere with what God is getting ready to place in your hands. You had to be crushed so that the fragrance of your life would rise like incense before Him. You had to be humbled so that pride wouldn't poison the blessing that is coming. God never promotes without preparation. And you've been in the furnace. You've been under pressure. You've been crying out, God, when? God, how long? But He hasn't forgotten you. He has heard every prayer, seen every tear, and counted every sleepless night. And I came to tell you with fire in my bones, your waiting is not in vain. God is about to launch you, not just lift you, not just bless you, launch you. That means you're not going back to the same level. You're going into a dimension you've never known, a place of authority, a place of power, a place of favor, a place where your enemies will watch from a distance and know God was with you all along. You see, the enemy tried to bury you, but he didn't know you were a seed. He tried to silence you, but he didn't know God was amplifying your voice through suffering. He tried to wear you down, hoping you would quit before the breakthrough came. But God sustained you, God strengthened you, God shielded you, and now the time has come. The heavens are declaring it, the earth is groaning for it, creation is waiting for the manifestation of what God has placed inside you. Don't be discouraged by the silence. The silence before the launch is sacred. Rockets don't make noise while they're fueling, they roar when it's time to rise. And you've been fueling in obscurity. You've been gathering strength in secret, but now the countdown has begun. God is aligning the right doors, the right people, the right moment. Everything is about to converge, and when it does, no man, no devil, no system, and no obstacle will be able to hold you back. You may not feel qualified, you may not feel ready, but God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called, and you have been called. Not just for survival, not just to get by, you've been called to dominate, to take territory, to walk in divine purpose with boldness, courage, and power. The fire you walked through was the furnace that forged your faith. The betrayal you survived was the training ground for your discernment. The rejection you endured was God's redirection toward your real assignment. God is not just preparing a blessing for you. He's preparing you for the blessing. Because if He launched you too soon, the weight of it would crush you. But now, because you didn't give up, because you kept praying, because you kept believing when nothing made sense, you are ready. You are ready to carry what others couldn't handle. ready to build what others only dreamed about, ready to lead, to impact, to shift atmospheres, to walk with authority that comes only from walking with God. And let me tell you this, when God launches you, it won't be a small thing. It won't be a whisper. It will be undeniable. It will silence the mouths of the mockers. It will confound those who doubted you. It will make even your enemies acknowledge the hand of God on your life. You won't need to announce it. You won't need to prove anything. The evidence will speak louder than any words. The fruit will silence every critic. The glory will rest upon you in such a way that people will wonder how you survived what you went through, and you will simply say, God. You see, the launch is not about your talent. It's not about your connections. It's about your obedience. God elevates those who are willing to trust Him when it doesn't make sense. Those who will go where He says, even when it hurts. Those who will surrender their plans so He can fulfill His purpose. That's who God launches. Not the loud, not the flashy, but the faithful, the ones who pray in the midnight hour, the ones who forgive when it's not deserved, the ones who keep showing up even when it feels like nothing is changing. That's you. You've passed the test. You've endured the crushing. You've survived the waiting. And now you're on the edge of destiny. The pressure you feel is not an attack, it's propulsion. The pain you feel is not the end, it's the beginning of something bigger than you can imagine. You're not just turning a page. You're stepping into a whole new book, a dimension where favor follows you, where power flows through you, where peace surrounds you like a shield, where your voice carries weight, where your prayers shift atmospheres, where your steps are ordered and your path is lit by the presence of God. The old doors are closing, not to punish you, but to push you into what's next. The old relationships are fading, not because you failed, but because you outgrew the soil. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. Positioned for divine encounters, positioned for supernatural acceleration, positioned to walk in rooms that your resume never qualified you for. God is about to open doors that no man can shut and shut doors that no man can open. He is about to place you in positions where your only explanation will be, this is the hand of God. And as God launches you, understand this, not everyone can go with you. Not everyone will understand the shift. Some will question the change in your life, not because you're wrong, but because they're too attached to the version of you that fit their comfort. But God is not launching you to stay familiar. God is launching you to be set apart. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out. The new dimension God is taking you into requires boldness, obedience, and unwavering trust. It's a realm where compromise cannot survive and where faith is your only fuel. God does not elevate based on popularity. God elevates based on purity, perseverance, and purpose. You don't need validation from man when you've been commissioned by God. You don't need applause when heaven has already approved you. You've spent too long explaining yourself to people who lack the spiritual eyesight to see what God is doing in your life. Stop shrinking to fit into rooms that were never built for the magnitude of your assignment. Stop watering down your voice to make others comfortable. God is calling you into a dimension where clarity, courage, and conviction will define your every move. This next level requires separation from distractions. God is calling you to a deeper discipline, a higher level of thinking, a sharper level of discernment. You can't carry bitterness where you're going. You can't carry old fears, old wounds, and old patterns. God is trying to take you into a dimension where your spirit is free, your mind is renewed, and your soul is anchored in truth. You're not just entering a season, you're entering a spiritual territory, a domain where your authority is not based on title, but on time spent with God in the secret place. When God launches you, it may feel lonely at first. The higher you rise, the fewer the voices around you. But don't fear the silence. It's in that silence that God begins to download vision, strategies, instructions, wisdom that this world can't offer. You are being entrusted with revelation that can shake systems, shift lives, and break generational cycles. You are being called to carry a voice that disrupts darkness, a presence that changes atmospheres, a spirit that refuses to settle for the ordinary. The dimension God is launching you into is not for the faint of heart. It's not for those who live to please the crowd. It's for those who walk by divine instruction, those who can hear the whisper of God in the middle of noise, those who won't bow to pressure, who won't fold under fire, who won't compromise their integrity for temporary recognition. This is a dimension for the brave, for the pure, or the surrendered. Do you not perceive it? Do you not feel it stirring? God is doing a new thing, not just around you, but inside of you. Your thoughts are changing. Your appetites are changing. Your circle is shifting. Your vision is becoming clearer. You no longer crave what once satisfied you because your spirit is hungry for what only God can provide. You're no longer distracted by surface-level pursuits because your soul is now chasing after deeper purpose. God is releasing you from things that no longer serve your destiny. You thought they were losses, but they were actually divine subtractions. You thought it was rejection, but it was protection. You thought it was a closed door, but it was a divine redirection. And now that the clutter is being cleared, now that the fog is lifting, you can finally see what God has been trying to show you all along. You were born for more. Not more in terms of material things, but more impact, more clarity, more peace, more obedience, more spiritual authority. God is calling you to a place where your prayers shift nations, your words pierce the hearts of many, and your life becomes a living testimony of the power and sovereignty of God. This is not about fame. This is about fire, a holy fire, a spiritual boldness that will make you walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere without saying a word, because the glory of God will rest on you so heavily that people will feel the weight of your obedience. You didn't go through the pain for nothing. You didn't endure the wilderness to die in it. The dry places were a proving ground. God was watching how you responded when no one else was clapping. He was watching how you responded when your prayers seemed unanswered, when people turned their backs on you, when you had every reason to quit, but you chose to keep going. That's what God honors, not perfection, but perseverance. Not charisma, but character. And because you remain steadfast, God is now raising you up. You've been faithful over the small things. Now God is about to make you ruler over greater. But understand this, with greater elevation comes greater responsibility. With greater visibility comes greater accountability. You cannot walk into this new dimension carrying an old mindset. You must be renewed, refined, recentered in the presence of God. Because where you're going, distractions can destroy you. Pride can poison you. But humility will preserve you. So guard your heart, stay in alignment, keep your motives pure. Let your yes to God be louder than your fear of man. Let your hunger for truth be stronger than your desire for applause. Let your obedience be swift, your prayer life be deep, and your spirit be sensitive. Because in this next dimension, God is going to speak in ways you've never heard before. He's going to move through you in ways that will surprise even you. Doors will open that you didn't even knock on. Resources will appear from unexpected places. Favor will follow you like a shadow, but you must remain grounded, rooted, anchored in God and God alone. The treasure of people will ask, how did this happen? How did you rise so fast? How did you walk through all of that and still carry peace? And you will say, it was only God. Not my strength, not my plan, not my wisdom. It was God. Every step, every door, every victory, God. Because when God launches you, He makes sure you don't get the glory. He makes sure that those who see you know there is a divine hand at work. You are not entering this new dimension to impress. You are entering to impact, to build, to transform, to walk with authority that breaks chains off others, to release a sound that wakens sleeping spirits, to carry a fire that revives the broken. God didn't save you for comfort. He saved you for purpose. And that purpose is now being ignited. When God begins to launch you into a new dimension, you must prepare for the unfamiliar. The new dimension is not just a place of promotion, it is a place of precision. It is not simply a reward for your suffering, it is a responsibility for your calling. The level of accountability increases because you are no longer just surviving battles, you are now commanding in them. You are no longer reacting to the attacks, you are discerning them before they come. In this new realm, your spirit must be sensitive, your mind must be sharp, and your heart must remain surrendered to God alone. God does not elevate for the sake of ego, He elevates for the sake of impact. And He chooses those who have been emptied of pride, stripped of self-will, and broken enough to know that without Him, they are nothing. If you still seek the approval of people, you are not ready for what God is about to do. If you still crave comfort more than calling, then this dimension will intimidate you. But if you are hungry for God, if you're willing to move by His instruction, even when it disrupts your logic and stretches your faith, then get ready. You are entering the realm of divine movements. This is the dimension where obedience trumps understanding, where the instructions God gives you may not always make sense in the natural, but your spirit will know they carry the weight of destiny. When God told you to walk away from that place, when He shut that door you thought you needed, He wasn't taking from you, He was preparing the platform for your launching. Because what is coming requires total alignment. Partial obedience will not sustain you here. God is calling for the kind of surrender that says, even if I don't understand, I will trust. Even if I don't see it now, I will believe. Even if it costs me everything, I will follow. In this dimension, God will place you in situations that stretch your capacity, not to break you, but to build you. He will allow circumstances to expose your weaknesses, not to shame you, but to strengthen your dependence on Him. You are being equipped with spiritual weapons that do not rust with time. Power to point others to Him, to build what will outlive you. And that's why your name doesn't need to be known, because your life will carry a weight that names can't hold. Your presence will shift atmospheres, not because of who you are, but because of the one who walks with you. The enemy tried to confuse you because he saw what was coming. He tried to cloud your mind with fear, with self-doubt, with distractions. He tried to convince you that you were too late, too broken, too insignificant. But what the enemy didn't understand is that your launch wasn't based on your perfection. It was based on your perseverance. You kept showing up. You kept seeking God. You kept praying in the middle of the storm. And now the heavens are aligning. Now the gates are opening. Now the winds are shifting in your favor. Not because of man, but because of God. And when God launches you, it won't be subtle. The change will be undeniable. The shift will be sudden. Doors you couldn't even find will open before you. Resources you didn't ask for will come to you. People who once ignored you will try to reach for you, but you'll know that your help comes not from people, but from God. You'll walk through rooms with a calm confidence, not because of what you wear, but because of what you carry. And you will move with purpose. You will speak with clarity. You will serve with humility, because you will know this is not your doing. This is God's divine movement. And God, light here There will be moments where it feels overwhelming, where the weight of the assignment feels heavy. But remember this, if God launched you into it, He will sustain you through it. His strength is made perfect in your surrender. His guidance is available in your stillness. His provision is hidden in your obedience. You will never lack what you need when you remain anchored in God. He does not send without supply. He does not call without covering. He does not assign without assistance. This is your time. This is the divine window you've been praying for. But you must be courageous. You must rise above the noise, walk past the fear, and step into what God has prepared. The atmosphere around you is about to shift. The people connected to you are about to witness a transformation they cannot explain. Not because you became someone else, but because you finally stepped into who God always said you were. And in that step, the old you falls away. The small thinking dies. The limited living is destroyed. Because when God launches, He leaves no room for the ordinary. So walk into this next dimension with boldness. Carry the fire of your trials with you. Let it fuel your passion, deepen your compassion, and elevate your intercession. You've been through too much to play small. You've endured too long to second-guess the calling. God is not just lifting you, He is entrusting you. He is placing you where you will influence, restore, and build for His purpose. The old season was your classroom, but now it's time for deployment. The tests are over. The refining is complete. The wind is behind you. The door is before you, and the voice of God is saying, go. You are not who you were. You are who God has shaped through the fire. You are not defined by where you came from, but by where God is sending you. Let that truth steady your feet. Let it silence every doubt. Because God is not done. He is only beginning. And you are His vessel for this moment. You are His messenger for this generation. You are His warrior for this battle, and now by His will, by His timing, and for His glory, God is launching you. God is not launching you for convenience. He is launching you for conquest. This is not about stepping into a more comfortable season. This is about stepping into a season of spiritual dominion. You are about to walk into a territory that the enemy once ruled, and your very presence will shake the foundations of darkness. When God launches, it is not for display, it is for disruption. The systems that once oppressed you will now bow to the power God is placing in your voice. The same battles that used to overwhelm you will now be under your feet. Because God is not just promoting you, He is positioning you as a force for His divine agenda on earth. You must understand the magnitude of what is being released over your life. This is not just about personal breakthrough, it is generational. The chains you break in this season will free those you will never even meet. The doors you walk through will be kept open for others to follow. The prayers you prayed in secret are setting fires in places you've never been. You are not just a recipient of God's favor. You are a carrier of it. And when you carry something that powerful, you cannot afford to be casual with it. You must walk with reverence, with intentionality, with fire in your bones, and purity in your heart. There will be moments in this new dimension where God will instruct you to speak what others are afraid to say, to confront what others choose to ignore, to stand firm when others bow to comfort. Do not retreat. Do not soften the message to make it more palatable to people who are asleep spiritually. You have not been called to lull the weary into deeper slumber. You have been called to awaken the dry bone. You have been chosen to carry a voice that resurrects dead visions, revives broken dreams, and restores wounded hearts. The shift that is coming will not be without resistance when God begins to launch you. Forces will rise to distract, to delay, to derail. But stay focused, stay planted, stay drenched in prayer, because the enemy doesn't attack what isn't a threat. And you because of what God has placed inside you, are a threat to the kingdom of darkness. Your presence in this world is not an accident. Your pain was not in vain. Your warfare was not wasted. Everything you've endured has prepared you to walk in spiritual boldness. And now that God is moving, you must be ready to act. This dimension will not operate by sight, it will operate by spiritual sensitivity. You must discern where to go, what to say, when to move, and when to be still. Every step must be surrendered, every decision soaked in prayer. You are not being launched for performance, you're being launched for purpose. And that purpose is not about platforms, it's about people. It's about impact. It's about obedience to the divine blueprint God wrote for your life before you ever took your first breath. Be warned, this next season may cost you some relationships. Everyone who started with you is not meant to finish with you. Some were only there to observe your preparation, not participate in your elevation. Let them go without guilt. Let them walk without explanation. Because where God is taking you, not everyone has the spiritual endurance to follow. Do not drag into your destiny what God already removed in your process. This launch is not dependent on the support of man. It is sustained by the hand of God alone. You've spent enough time questioning whether you're ready. God would not launch you if you weren't equipped. You may not feel ready, but your spirit has been made ready through the trials, the tests, the sleepless nights, the broken prayers, and the moments of deep surrender. You were forged in silence, you were strengthened in private, and now God is calling you to arise in power, not because of who you are, but because of who He is through you. The glory will never be yours, it belongs to God alone. Your story is just the canvas. God is the artist. The world is not in need of more noise. It needs voices that carry the weight of divine encounters, voices that pierce through confusion with clarity, lives that reflect the stillness and the strength of one who walks closely with the Most High. You are being launched, not to impress, but to illuminate, to be a light in the thickest darkness, to be the echo of truth in a world drowned in deception. You are not called to fit in. You are called to stand out, to rise above, to walk so deeply in your God-given identity that compromise becomes impossible. Do not fear the cost. What you are walking into carries eternal significance. Your obedience now will create waves in generations to come. Your submission to God's timing is setting up divine appointments you haven't yet imagined. You are stepping into a realm where miracles are normal, where favor follows obedience, where your thoughts are not limited by human understanding, but elevated by divine revelation. But all of this requires one thing: complete surrender. Not partial obedience, not delayed submission. God is launching those who are fully yielded. This is a sacred moment, a holy acceleration, a divine release. Heaven has recorded every silent yes, every hidden sacrifice, every private battle, and now God is about to make public what He has refined in private. But this visibility is not for vanity, it is for victory, for others to see what it looks like when a life is laid down for God completely. You are not just going to be noticed, you are going to be needed. You are not just going to be seen, you are going to be sent. You are not just going to speak, you are going to shift lives. You have been marked, you have been chosen, you have been set apart for such a time as this. The spiritual realm is already adjusting to make room for your arrival. Things that once resisted you will now open at your command. Not because of you, but because God walks with you. Mountains that once stood before you will move. Valleys that once swallowed your joy will now be filled with praise. And places that once knew you as broken will now witness you walking in healing, in purpose, in authority, in power. You must understand that when God launches you, He is not simply shifting your position. He is elevating your entire posture in the Spirit. This is not merely a change of location or situation. It is a transformation of how you walk, how you speak, how you think, and how you war in prayer. This new dimension is not for the emotionally fragile or the spiritually lukewarm. It is for those who have been made firm through fire, who have been taught by tears, and who have come to know God not by comfort, but by covenant. You didn't arrive here by luck. You were carved by divine hands, shaped through hardship, and now you are being released to reflect the power of the one who has held you together in your breaking. In this divine season, your movements must be intentional. Your voice must carry clarity. Your steps must be synchronized with God's timing. You can no longer afford to walk by impulse or emotion. Your mission is too great, your purpose too weighty. The margin for error is narrow, because where God is taking you, your obedience will be the key that unlocks doors, not only for you, but for generations after you. The new dimension God is ushering you into demands a new level of discipline. The comfort of yesterday's routine will not survive in the territory of tomorrow's calling. The language of fear must be replaced with the language of faith. The thoughts of limitation must bow to the truth of divine provision. God is not simply elevating your life, He is shifting your influence. He is turning your pain into a platform, your silence into a sound, and your endurance into evidence. The things that once intimidated you will now serve as reminders of your growth. You no longer respond the same. You no longer fear the noise. You no longer shrink under pressure. You've learned that the most powerful oil flows only after the olive is crushed. And now God is pouring from your life the fragrance of endurance, the aroma of righteousness, the strength that comes from complete dependence on Him. Do not become intoxicated by visibility. Remember, the launch is not the destination, it is the doorway. The dimension God is calling you into is not about being seen, but about being trusted. Being trusted to speak when it's easier to stay silent. Being trusted to remain pure when temptation knocks. Being trusted to serve without recognition, to give without condition, and to love without limit. You are being trusted with territory, spiritual territory, that will test your identity, challenge your consistency, and require your unwavering focus. Do not mistake the pressure for punishment. What you feel now is the weight of assignment pressing against your comfort. It is the weight of glory resting on a vessel that has been made ready. You are not being crushed anymore, you are being carried. And God carries those whom He sends. God protects those whom He chooses. There is a hedge around your purpose. There is fire surrounding your steps. And the very things that once wounded you will now become weapons in your hands. Prepare yourself, because not everyone will celebrate this launch. There will be those who question it, those who critique it, those who try to diminish what God is doing in your life because they cannot comprehend it. But you must remain unmoved. Let their doubts strengthen your resolve. Let their silence sharpen your dependence. Let their distance drive you deeper into the presence of God. You were never meant to be defined by the applause or absence of people. Your value is rooted in the one who called you before you were even born. You are stepping into a realm where divine insight will replace natural logic, where God will reveal things to you before they happen, where your decisions will be led by peace, not pressure, where your presence will carry solutions, not just emotions. The world is not desperate for more talk. It is desperate for those who walk in the authority of truth. And you, child of God, have been appointed for such a time as this, not to echo the world, but to echo eternity. Do not be distracted by delay. Divine timing is always perfect. The delays you experienced were not denials, they were divine layers being added to your strength. The season where you saw no movement was the season where God was moving the most within you. You thought nothing was happening, but deep in the soil of your surrender, God was planting power. Now the roots have grown. The foundation has been tested, and what is about to spring forth will not be shallow or short-lived. It will be sustained because it was birthed in alignment. As God launches you, prepare for acceleration. You will cover more ground in less time. You will receive wisdom beyond your years. You will recover what was lost and even gain what was never expected. This is the power of divine positioning. When God says it's time, nothing and no one can hold you back. Not the systems of man, not the opinions of others, not even the past you thought would disqualify you. God is not concerned with where you've been. He's focused on where He's taking you.